So what I'm doing now is I'm checking the image area, and I'm removing residual pigment that pretty much gets stuck in areas where you don't want it. Generally with an image like this, you're going to have some areas where pigment sticks. As you can see on the top and the bottom borders, it sticks, and that all has to come off because you want a clean sheet with the text only on here, and you don't want anything in an area where it's going to interfere with the text. So what you need to do is take an artist brush and gently start removing all of the extra gelatin that's on there, and move it out of the way and completely remove it from the image area so that you have no lines or any marks or anything that might not look too good for the final page. So this is a page of text. This is page for plate number 3 that I'm doing for the book that I've just recently written, and it's all images. You might wonder, why is this page so big? Well, the images in this book are all 8x20 carbon transfer contact prints. They're all from the original negatives, so there's no digital negatives for the images, but for the text, the only way you can do it is with a digital negative. So we have a digital negative for the text. So what I've done here is removed as much of the pigmented gelatin as I can. I've got a little one that's kind of hanging on there I got to get rid of. So I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to move the tissue in and put it face down so it can dissolve away any of the residual pigment that's left on there, and I can reuse it. So now what one needs to do when you're printing text is you need to go over each letter and remove any residual pigment that might be stuck. So on this area here where the border was, I need to remove the extra gelatin that's stuck on the border here. So what I've done is I've got a tray of water here, or a pitcher of water. It's a little warmer than the development water, and it's helping me lightly brush off and eliminate the pigmented gelatin that is stuck on here. I don't want to have that on there, so we're just going to develop this. So this is something that takes a fair amount of time. You can see some faint lines around the edges. Those faint lines need to be removed. Otherwise, when it dries, they'll show up, and it can be annoying. Sometimes you can't do anything about it because it's nature of the beast. This process when you're printing text is really difficult because you don't know whether the ink is going to end up going into the paper and not releasing. So sometimes it'll happen, sometimes it won't, depending on how well the paper's been coated. So now each letter needs to be individually cleared. So you have to stipple each letter of text to remove any residual gelatin and pigment that are on the image area, so to speak. So this is something that takes a lot of time, a lot of patience, and every now and then I want to make sure that the text does not dry out, so I'll run some development water over it to remove any pigment that might kind of be hanging on. So the brush helps to agitate it gently and remove pigment, and then I'll just, with a sponge, squeeze it so that it helps eliminate even more. So what you have to do is very carefully stipple hot water into areas of all the text. So it can go on for a while. Generally, a large section of text is going to take at least a half an hour to develop, if not longer. A small area like this may take 15 minutes, maybe more, because you have to try to get as much pigment out as you can, and you've got A's and D's and all these areas where there's recesses, and you have to be careful not to overdevelop it, because you'll pull a letter loose, and then that can be difficult to put back in place. Although I have done that. I've put letters back in place before. So this kind of gives you an idea of what it takes to develop text in Carbon Transfer. I'm the only Carbon Transfer printer that I know of that has ever done a book in Carbon Transfer with prints, and especially text. And I know of no other printer that's done it this way. So I've kind of created a unique process, and this is my second book, and it's going to be 8 by 20 images, and the text is on a 15 by 26 inch piece of paper. So that's kind of an overview of how you do text. So thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.